Hello again and welcome to Kabbalah Revealed. I'm Tony Kozenek. Last time we spoke about the force of development, the progression of desires, the way in which reality moves us along a path of development. We spoke about the quality that is the definition of the upper worlds, the spiritual worlds. The quality that is the definition of the physical world, and what it is about the way that we perceive that makes the spiritual worlds the greater reality hidden from us. We looked at the progression of desires. We saw that there were 4 categories of desires that are considered physical, and that because of the thought of creation, which is to create a creature and to bring that creature to unbounded delight, it must progress by means of what the creature finds delightful. And so all expression of development from the thought of creation is expressed through a lack and a filling. And we saw that desires progressed from simple desires, animal desires, for sex, for shelter, food, family. And when that was filled, we moved on to a greater desire, which is a desire for wealth, which is an accumulation of the first one. And when that feels empty to us because we are still feeling something driving us, something that's pushing us ahead, something that's pulling us forward, we feel that thing as a kind of a taste, as something that we must have, and we move towards it. And once we have it, we can't taste it anymore. But this is the force of development moving us on. And from wealth we move on to fame, power. Once we fill that, we're moved on by our emptiness into knowledge. And then once we find knowledge empty, we find ourselves in a confusing situation in which nothing from this world can satisfy us. And if you recall, it's at that point at which a completely new level of development becomes accessible to us. So, when that special desire enters the heart from the spiritual, which is qualities of the will to bestow, it changes everything within the human heart. And the human heart, when you hear the term heart in Kabbalah, it means the sum total of all desires that a person has. This heart is still filled with desires that come from the physical world. These are still the things from categories 1, 2, 3, and 4. This desire, which is a desire to reach the spiritual, is called Israel, from 2 Hebrew words, yashar meaning straight, and el meaning God. A desire for a direct connection with God. These corporal desires are called nations, the nations of the world. In other words, the desires of the physical world. Up until this point, the force of development, the way in which desire moved us until we came to a point where we actually needed to feel what was above the physical world, happened in an unconscious way. But from now on, it has to happen in a conscious way, because this point in the heart is a spiritual gene. It's like the embryo of the soul, and the soul is a kind of a desire. And it must be filled, the heart must be filled with this desire. It must fill everything despite these other corporal desires. In other words, all of the desires that we have to undergo a transformation, a correction. And it's by correcting these desires that the desire to go directly to God can be fulfilled. Now, why is that? In our original state, at the root of our soul, we were connected to the Creator as the creator and the creature. In fact, these are the only two things that exist in creation, the creator and the creature. And here we were adhered to the creator as one being, as one unified creature. But because of the thought of creation, which is to create a creature and fill it with delight, that was only the starting point. It was the beginning of a system. And this quality of the creature, which is the will to receive, started to expand purposely. And as a result of the expansion of this quality, of this desire to receive for myself alone, a greater diversity in quality started to grow between the quality of the creator, which is bestowal, and the quality of the creature, which is reception. And as this egoistic intention expanded, the first creature, the whole creature, the collective soul called Adam Harishon, meaning the first man, descended through a system of worlds, through 125 steps, to greater and greater egoism until the soul reached a point in which it became separated into what appears to be physicality.